Hello, everyone. I'm Corey. Welcome to the Town Hall on August 8th. I am coming at you live from Myrtle Beach today, and the music is continuing to go. That was Feeding the Ducks from StreamYard's free music. So, in case you were wondering where that is, that's what that was. We got a lot going on today. I have been out for a while. I haven't done one of these in a few months, and so there's a lot of publications that have happened, what has happened within the organization. But we're going to start out with JB coming in and giving a few shout outs. So JB, let me bring you to the stage. Hello, hello, hello. Get your slides on here and have at it.
Doing as well. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes just to talk through some shout outs that we've had recently. As a quick reminder, really great and important that we give everyone feedback. We can do that in tons of different ways, and this is just one of the ways that we're trying out over the past couple of months. So I've got a bunch of slides with some great and lovely feedback for people. I'm not going to read every single word, but I'll give you the gist, and then I'll send them out in the channel as well, so you can all read. But thanks for sending out some really nice feedback for some of your fellow contributors. So first up, shout out for Claire in the BI team, doing a great job, and sounds like going kind of beyond the scope of her role. So great job, Claire, and that's from Alexis. And then the next shout out is for Sip. So aside from just being the best team lead ever, he's been on maternity leave recently. Congrats, Sip. Not sure if you're here today. It sounds like still doing a tremendous job while also being out and juggling everything. So some lovely feedback there. And the next one was for Guru, just with some of your contributions to the Code Up desktop app and also the Feedblock app. I don't know if everyone saw that, but that was pretty cool. Maybe we do future versions of shoutouts via that somehow. But yeah, another lovely piece of feedback, this time from Alisha. And then this one's from me because I'm in charge of the slides, so I get to write something. I wanted to say thank you to the whole legal team because I think they're kind of the unsung heroes or some unsung heroes of the org, but especially to Noelle, who's helped me personally and the People Ops team for the last, well, always, but especially over the last couple of months, just on a couple of projects and reviews. So thank you very much, Noelle. And then this was a shout out from Gusto in the NAS team to Youngjun for leading the Blend network and node bootstrapping work and making great progress. So great job. And next one was for Vaclav, who, aside from being really good at coffee, I learned in Croatia, has been doing some great work and encouraging Danish to write forum posts and be more public about his work. So nice job, Vaclav. And then Lou in the comms team, who I'm not even sure if she's around at the moment, but just consistently amazing and always going above and beyond and stepping up. So great work, Lou. And then the next shout out for Zoltan, sorry. Again, lots of great contributions, lots of patience and just helping teammates to resolve problems. So again, stuff that we love to hear. And that's it. So I think in less than 24 hours, these kind of 7 or 8 really nice shout outs. So thank you so much. I'm going to share them on the channel. I guess if I was to try and pitch a couple more things, obviously shout outs at town halls are really great, but don't wait for a town hall. Tell someone if they've done a good job, put it in the People Ops channel, publicly let everyone know how great they are and embarrass them if that's their thing. Especially as a Brit, I don't really like public praise, but I know
you're so awesome, JB.
Cultures do. Thank you, Corey. And then, so that's feedback that you've all given to your peers, which is great. A quick plug from me, the org asks you for feedback as well. So there will be an email in your status email from or with the subject title quarterly engagement survey. And that is where you get the chance to give your feedback on the org, how it's running, what you think could be better, good and bad. And so it would be great if you could give your feedback on the org, and if it's interesting, we can summarize the results and share them in the next town hall. Fab, thank you, everyone. Back to Corey.
Cool. Thanks, JB. That was great. I love the shout outs. I will add you, remove you, and see you in a few weeks. So up next, I have my little handy dandy Notion. If you go to the town hall channel in the Logos Discord. You can see a link to this, and it updates when I update it. I think you can edit it too if you want. That may be a terrible idea live. But up next, I wanted to at least do an IFT announcement that Yuri has published the Logos core specs in the repo, and you can go take a look at those. He was quite thorough in detailing what the Logos POC, Logos core POC can do. And you can read all about it, how to interact with it, how to use it, what it does, what it plans on doing, all kinds of things, tons and tons and tons of stuff. And now you can start building with Logos Core or experimenting with it. So go try to do that. Give feedback to Yuri, build something cool, share it with everybody, and let's get going on that. But up next, I wanted bring Prim in to show us some cool stuff he's been working on. Here we go, Prim.
Thanks, Corey. Hey, everyone. We in the Waku team have been working on integrating the libp2p mix protocol as a proof of concept to provide better anonymity to the existing Waku protocols. Especially, we are talking about anonymity in the terms of publishers that want to publish messages on the Waku network. So the protocol we chose to begin with is the Waku light push protocol, which could be used to by light clients or edge nodes to publish messages onto the Waku network. Now, since I've started saying better anonymity, libp2p mix is a protocol that has been written by the WAC team and has been implemented by the P2P team, and we have started integrating it into the Waku, and we have done some simulations as well. I'm going to share some links at a later point. There's a forum post which talks about the mixnet simulations that anyone can look at. But to begin with, I wanted to do a small demo of the mixnet. This is a locally run mixnet, which is a 3-node mixnet, and using an Nwaku service node and a chat application, which is an example application in Nwaku, which now publishes over the Mix protocol. So the setup, I'll try to explain again briefly. There are 3 Nwaku nodes which support the Mix protocol. And then we have an Nwaku service node, which actually is a light push protocol service node. And then we have 2 chat applications that publish using light push over Mix. And the way the Mix protocol is going to work is the chat app is going to choose randomly the 3 nodes, which are going to be acting in the path for this mix packet. And then the packet would traverse these nodes and then be delivered to the service node. So the anonymity is achieved that this service node would not be aware of which chat app has actually published the message. That's the publisher anonymity that we are talking about. And the second level of anonymity is any network observer that's observing the network would not be able to figure out which app published the message. And they will not be able to do any kind of timing analysis because there would be some sort of random delay that would be added by each node before the message is forwarded along the path. Yeah, I think enough about the setup. I'm going to show a quick demo of its working. Yeah. So I'm going to run the light push service node first. And this node mounts the light push protocol. And this is also acting as a bootstrap node for the other Waku nodes. And as you can see, this node does not mount the mix protocol. Now, when I run the other 3 nodes, we can actually confirm that the mix protocol gets mounted and each of the node is going to have the mix enabled in their ENR. I'm going to start all the 3 nodes, and then I have 2 instances of the chat app that I'm going to run. And yeah, okay, mix user 1. And yeah, this ready to publish messages now indicates that it has connected, or rather it has discovered all the mix nodes in the network. We have, yeah, so now I've published. Let's hope it works. Yeah, and we can see that the second chat app has received the message. And as a proof, we can see that one of the mix node acted as an intermediate node and then has added a delay of 1 millisecond before forwarding the message to the next node. And this would have been the next node. This mix node added a delay of 0 milliseconds. And then the third node is acting as an exit node, which would unwrap the cryptographic packet and then actually send it across to the light push node, which would then publish the message. And as we can see that the message has been received by the other chat app. Let's try again. And okay, for some reason that did not work. Okay. Okay, there seems to be some issue, but yeah, I just wanted to demonstrate this as a POC. And yeah, if you want more information, I think I'll be sharing more links as to, yeah. We have the spec written for the Waku Mix protocol, which talks about how the Mix protocol will be integrated and then how the overlay network is going to work. And on top of that, we have done certain simulations, with a 20 node setup using Waku Simulator. I'm going to share the link to the forum post as well. With Corey at the later point in time. Yeah, thanks everyone. Any questions?
That's awesome. It's nice to see y'all implemented Mix already. What are the? Do you have any plans for using it, or any intended implementations or integrations that y'all have with P2P Mix so far?
I think we are waiting for the reply path to be implemented, because right now only the forward path has been implemented in the Mix repo. Once the reply path has been implemented, the plan is to integrate with light push and store, and then kind of deploy it on a testing basis into the Waku network, so that if users want to publish with Mix or query the store nodes using Mix, then yeah, they can do so.
Awesome. Definitely start broadcasting that whenever we start doing it more broadly.
Yeah.
Try and get people to use it and build on it and add a lot more anonymity to the network.
Yeah.
We can have some questions later. So if you actually you're cutting out after this, it's quite late for you. So if you have any questions for Prem, go check them out. Waku, Digging the Locust Discord, all the Discords, and if you can't find them, send them to me, and I'll forward them over to him, and we'll keep this thing going. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.
Up next, let's see, who do we have? We can go with Sergey or Joe. I said I'd pick them at random, so I'm going to go with Sergey because he is first on my presenters list here. Sergey, bringing it to screen, and you're going to talk about.
Corey?
Oh, where's your there you are. Oh, where's your screen? I don't see your screen.
Yep, sharing my screen.
Talk about some incentivization action. Here we are. All right, have at it.
Wonderful. So I'm going to talk today about service incentivization. So show a few slides to give some context, and then I'll show a demo to see how it works in a POC. So what are we trying to do here, actually? I will demonstrate an incentivized light push setup that enables potentially more sustainable Waku network. We have implemented eligibility and reputation mechanisms, and I'll go into a bit more detail about what those are. And this is a step towards a more generic, decentralized service marketplace that will help us make Waku sustainable on the longer term. So for context, Waku supports edge nodes with light protocols, such as light push to send messages, store to retrieve historical messages, and filter to subscribe to topics. And the focus of this presentation is light push. So we think that incentivization is important because currently these services are provided altruistically. And as long as Vacu is protected with rate limiting nullifiers or RLN, it means that to publish a message, serving someone's light push request actually requires spending this scarce resource on the part of the service node. So it's important for long-term sustainability to incentivize the service node for spending some of these scarce resources. And this proof of concept brings incentives to light push. We think that light push is the simplest and most straightforward protocol to incentivize because it's just a one-time interaction, request response protocol. The client asks for some service and gets this service. It's not like prolonged in time. We do not have to measure something over time. So we think this is the simplest thing to demonstrate the principle can be further extended to other protocols. So we have implemented two modules in this proof of concept. The first is eligibility. So in the POC, a request must be eligible to be served, and eligibility is defined as follows. So an edge node must attach a transaction ID to its light push request. This transaction ID must correspond to a valid confirmed transaction on linear Sepolia. This transaction must pay correct amount to the correct destination address, and it must not have been reused previously. So it prevents double spending from the client's part. And second, we implement a very simple reputation system such that the edge node tracks reputation of the service node that it interacts with. Initially, each service node is assigned a neutral reputation. And then if a service node actually fulfills the request, it is marked as good. And if it fails to fulfill the request, it's marked as bad. And bad service nodes will not be selected for the next requests. We make a few simplifying assumptions for this POC. First, we assume that the price and payment address have been agreed upon using some external mechanism. So the edge node knows where to pay and how much exactly to pay. Then each request is paid for in a separate transaction, and payments are made in the native asset of the corresponding blockchain, in our case, linear Sepolia ETH. So it's not an ERC20 token, but again, if necessary, we could extend it to accept multiple payment methods. This is the topology of a demo network. So I'm showing this so that you understand what will be happening when I will be showing a live demo. So we have Alice here, who is the edge node. So Alice wants to publish messages via Vacu network, although she is not connected to the relay network itself. She's only connected via light push protocol to Charlie and Bob. So Charlie here plays the role of a bad service node. So Charlie cannot actually serve the request because Charlie is isolated and is not connected to anyone else. And Bob, in contrast, is a good service node who is connected to Dave via relay. So Bob can publish the message, and Bob will successfully fulfill the request from Alice. Now, we have a few test cases, so I will briefly describe them, and then I will show them live. So the first, at first, we assume that Alice only connects to Charlie and sends a few invalid requests, and we will check that Charlie actually rejects them. Then Alice will send an eligible request to Charlie, but as long as Charlie is isolated, he will fail to fulfill the request, and Alice will mark Charlie as a bad service node. Then Alice will connect to Bob and send a request to Bob, which Bob will fulfill, and Alice will mark Bob as a good service node. And finally, Alice will attempt to double spend the same transaction ID with Bob again, and Bob will detect this and reject her repeated request. So now I will return to this diagram. I will be copy-pasting the commands to my terminal from the README, which you can find in the corresponding feature branch in the nvacu repo, and I will comment on what's happening here. So here we have 4 nodes that are running, and I will be launching commands over here. So first of all, this is the light push request that does not have any eligibility proof attached to it. So if I send it, I get the message saying eligibility proof is required. So this request is rejected. Then if Alice tries to send a request with a 0 hash as as an eligibility proof, then she will get back the response that says eligibility check failed to fetch transaction. So Charlie tried to fetch the transaction and failed to do so because it does this. Then Alice can try to send a request with an incorrect amount. So for the POC purposes, we reject both overpayment and underpayment. So the payment must be exactly the expected amount. So this check failed because the transaction value is higher than the service node expected. And another transaction also fails because the transaction value is lower than expected. So if we check at this point Charlie's reputation, we will see that the reputation is still neutral because all the previous failures were Alice's fault. So it was not Charlie's fault that these requests have not been fulfilled. So reputation is still neutral. But now Alice sends an eligible request. So this transaction ID actually corresponds to a transaction that fulfills all the necessary criteria. And Charlie says no peers for topics keeping published, which means that Charlie failed to serve the request. And if we check Charlie's reputation once again, we see that the reputation is now bad. I will clear the terminal now and go to the next test case where Alice connects to Bob now. So Bob is the good service node. And if we see the connected nodes that Alice has, we see here two addresses which correspond to Bob and Charlie. So as long as Bob has a neutral reputation and Charlie has a negative reputation, if Alice sends a request, it would be forwarded to Bob, and hopefully Bob will actually fulfill it. So yes, the answer is relay peer count equals 1, which means that Bob successfully pushed the message to one peer, who is Dave, which means that the request has been served. And now if we check the reputation of Bob, Bob now has a good reputation. Furthermore, we can check from the point of view of Dave that Dave actually has received the message. So if we query the latest messages on the particular topic that we have been using all along, we see that Dave is aware of Alice's message. And as the final test case, we check that double spending doesn't work here. So now Alice tries to send another request with the same transaction ID that was successful previously. But now Bob replies with eligibility check failed. This hash has already been used. So this is a double spend, which is successfully stopped. So going back to the slideshow, basically just a few slides to show. After this, this lays the groundwork for a more generalized Vacu service marketplace. So we think that all kinds of services, starting of course from Vacu services in particular, could be generalized, could be incentivized in such a manner. And if you want to get involved and know more about this line of work, first of all, you can try the proof of concept. So if you go to Vacu repository and check out this feature branch, you will be able to follow the instructions and reproduce the test cases that I have demonstrated, and also potentially use your own transactions or other scenarios. You can check out the VAC forums thread, Service Incentivization MVP, where we discuss the next steps towards incentivizing Vacu. Also, a blog post in the Vacu blog is being written. I hope it will be published in the next few days. So if you're interested, keep track of that and follow Vacu blog. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Thank you, and please, any questions? If anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer.
That's awesome. I have a question. What do you get excited about, like this being used for? Do you have any additional like kind of use cases for this? Like, what could someone build on this right now that would be interesting for the ecosystem?
Yeah, so I think we go step by step. So we take kind of a stepwise approach. I think thinking about making Vacu sustainable as a network is a very important first step. So I mean, I'd be happy to see people using this for completely different purposes and some external services unrelated to Vaku. But from our standpoint, this is an important building block to ensure that the nodes that do run the Vaku network are rewarded in some capacity. And we think that these client-server interactions are kind of a natural fit because, yeah, we have kind of clearly defined roles of an edge node who wants some service and the service node who spends resources to serve that request, and introducing some some incentivization in this process sounds to me as a very healthy sustainability mechanism.
Yeah, it's a nice primitive to have for because if you look at Waku as just a signaling network negotiating where to have more complex conversations via different protocols or whatever, it's a great primitive to have to say, here's this service that we can offer, here's how you connect to the specific computers to do that service, and here's how you pay for it. So even thinking about decentralized stun and turn servers being negotiated and then paid for via Waku as an extension to something like this, or any other kind of networking, like heavier protocol, WebRTC, whatever it is, based protocols off of this that negotiate through Waku, both from a connection standpoint and a payment standpoint, is a really interesting thing to like grow into.
To be clear, like to add a little bit on top of that, this eligibility term is kind of generic, and strictly speaking, it does not have to be financial. So in this POC, this corresponds to a financial payment, but it could also be some kind of zero knowledge proof or membership proof or some kind of credential that is being used. So technically, we can plug into these constructions any eligibility proof in a more generic sense than just the payment.
Awesome. Thanks, Sergey. That's great. Really good. Really happy to see this moving forward, and I'm excited to see people play with this and try to build stuff off of it and kind of explore the like ocean that is possibilities on building from this.
Great. Thank you.
All right. You have any questions? Go reach Sergey in the Waku Discord. You can also ask here, and I'll bubble it up. And if he doesn't get to it, I'll relay it to him. Thanks, Sergey. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Up next, we've got Joe coming at you from Status, talking about local backups. Joe.
All right. Thank you, Corey. So yeah, I'm Joe coming in from the Status core team. Today I'll talk about this new feature called local backups that are coming to the next version of Status, which will be coming very soon. We just did the first release candidate, and I'll talk more about that towards the end. So what is this feature? And first, why is it needed? So if you use Status before, you already know we already have a backup mechanism. And it's currently based on top of Waku and using the Waku store nodes. However, if you know Waku, it is not made for that. It is really much more made for ephemeral messages, just people talking to each other, right? And the way we're using it for backups is basically storing user data on top of Waku and the store nodes and using it as a database. And that's a big no-no. So for a while, they've been trying to tell us to stop doing that. And that's what I'm here to show you, a new way to do it, which is locally using local files. So quickly, I'll run through some very quick code, show you how we've implemented it. And a big shout out to Patrick from my team who implemented this core backup mechanism. So it makes it so that it's very simple to implement new backups from the different parts of Status because it's super generalized, super modular, because the core basically just receives a list of backup providers and runs through them through a node. So here's how you register. When we start the local backup, when you log in, it will register the settings backup, the wallet backup, messenger backup. But that means if we have any other new module in the future, which we have, I don't know, browser backup, just register it and it will just work in its own little instance. That also means that none of them need to know each other or how to have a specialized way to backup, because it all ends up being just very simple byte array. So it's kind of like a string. So each different module can export their own type of data, and they process it themselves. So again, it's very modular, very easy to improve, and also it's backward compatible. So if, for example, you have a very old backup file from, let's say, this new version 235, and then you update later to, I don't know, 238, you can still use your old file and it's going to work. We have tests proving that, which is awesome. So without further ado, let's just jump into the demo. So we have this basic test account here that I have created. It has, I'll run you through what's going to be backup. So we back up the contacts. We also back up a couple of settings. So for example, here I put it, let's put it euros. It's going to back up the different chats. So I have group chats, one-on-one chats. It's going to back up the communities. And finally, it's going to back up my watch-only accounts. I have this account called MetaMask account. So let's go into the syncing settings, where I'm going to tell the system where I want to back up. By default, it goes into the data dir, but let's create a new folder just to show that it works as expected. So let's call it demo. So empty folder, open. It's going to back up right here. So let's click the button, backup data locally. Doesn't do much, but you can trust that it worked. Here, there was no error. And to show that it's totally local, no connection is needed, I'm just going to close it and go back to this empty account now. It is exactly the same one, but as you can see, it's totally empty. And I'm going to just use this local backup file that we use. So import. Let's go back here to the demo folder. Demo. There it is. We see there's a file that was created just now, just under a megabyte. Click on it. You can see it's progressing. I could go, well, I guess I just showed that I can do other operations in the meantime. Poof, local backup completed. Now let's go look at what we imported. You can see we have the display name now, the bio. We have our contacts, even the pending contacts were imported. Communities are there. The chat list is all there. And let's see, we also changed the currency. It's euro. So everything that we saw on the previous account is now imported on our new account without having to use Waku. No network needed. Everything was locally done, and it's just that simple. If people are a bit observant, there's a small bug where the image didn't update right away. Let's just refresh the app and show that it's just a small little issue. And there it is. Now we have the same image. So yeah, it's really the goal is to make it as simple as possible for users. Put the file wherever you want. You can share it through another USB stick or whatever. We also, I didn't show it, but this button to import is also available during the onboarding. So when you start your new account, or rather restore your account during onboarding, you'll be prompted also to import, so you don't have to go through the settings, though it's always optional, so you can go do it later. And yeah, that's pretty much it, as simple as possible. So what's next with that? What's cool is that now that we will not be using Waku anymore, it means we can back up more, right? We've been limited before. We just limited ourselves to the strict minimum, so we don't abuse the network more than we already do. But now that it's all local, we can back up anything we want. So if any one of you have any suggestions, feel free to jump into the feature request forum that we have, or in our Discord or status community. Or if you want, you can implement it yourself. Like I said, it's super simple. Just register your module and ship it as a string or byte array. And more than that, something that's been requested a lot by users is to do messages backups. And now that we have this mechanism to do local backups, we're going to be able to reuse that, and we'll make it opt-in. And when you restore, you'll be able to restore all your messages to reusing local files, which is very exciting, because we know that it's been one of the big things that's been requested from people that switch accounts or rather even just do another installation. They lose all their message history, which is a bummer. But now we'll be able to implement this feature where safely you can import it to your account. And finally, this new feature, like I said, is going to be available in 2.35 very soon, but we just published the first release candidate. So if you want to help us test it or just use it right away, if you're excited to use it, just jump into our GitHub repo, go into the releases, and it's going to be the last one. You can download it there, and yeah, have fun with it.
Awesome. I love that. You make it give more options for people to kind of back up their data and restore it in different places. Have you thought about adding a layer of encryption to it so that you can?
Oh, of course, it is encrypted. Yes.
Oh, it is encrypted.
Yes, I could show you actually. I'm gonna try to import a file that's not from the same account. Let's see. I have
so it's encrypted with your chat key or something.
Chat key, exactly. Let's see status.
Okay, so you have authentication just based on access to the key itself.
Using a random one, it's just good. It's gonna fail, right? Local backup failed. Message authentication failed.
That's nice.
So obviously everything is encrypted, so you cannot, someone cannot use or read your data unless you have the chat key, which is, well, a private key. So
that's a smarter way that I was thinking. I was just naively going to say like a symmetric, using a symmetric key, and then sharing that with someone, and then backing up with your own messages or something like that. But that's a much better way to keep it to your account and also remove some of the UX of needing to remember a password, write down a password, whatever.
Yeah. No, it's very, very simple. It's basically the same as it was before, just except it's local instead of going onto the network. And also, you don't have to click the button to do it. It's going to sync it every 30 minutes. Since it's a way smaller operation than putting it on the network, we can afford to do it every 30 minutes, so your data will be even more fresh. Because currently,
so it maintains the backup over time. So once you set a location, every 30 minutes, it just backs up to that location.
Exactly. And yeah, before it was 8 hours, I think, between backups, so you could be missing latest updates. Now with 30 minutes, should be up to date.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if
and now we just need an avenue to put it on like something like Codex or IPFS. So that you can continue the streamline syncing. But that gets a little more hairy with CRDTs and whatnot. All right, awesome, Joe. That's really great. What's next? You get anything else coming from here?
No, like I said, people can try it or just try the new build and give us any feedback they have on any of the new features, like the new home screen that's popping in.
Yeah, I like that.
Give us any feedback, any feature requests, anything.
What's the timeline on the release? When are you planning on releasing?
I think you're muted, or are you still there?
I'm here. Yeah. Hello? Check 1 2. Hello? No, I can hear me. I can see it's making noise on my little here. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm the only one that's bugging, so thank you, everyone. All right. Goodbye.
Well, that's all of the presentations we have today. I can go through a bit of the publications that we have gone over the past couple months, I'd say. Very excited to see demos. As always, if you have demos of the work you've been doing, I thoroughly encourage you to contact me so that we can get you at a town hall. If you don't want to wait for the next town hall, probably going to be 2 weeks from now. You can always just do it whenever you want. Publish it, get it out, and people see it. Really like making sure people get to see all the work that we're doing. But as you can see, I always try and aggregate all of the different publications and forum posts that we've had since going on, as well as media that we put out. This is not extensive because there's been a lot of stuff since I've last done this. But going through, there's a lot of every month. All the teams within Logos do a monthly update. I didn't see the status one, so maybe there's a status. All right, my headphones just turned off for some reason. I believe you can still hear me. Yes, but every month there's an update, so you can see all the walking monthly updates. These are generally going to be an aggregation of all the things they've posted before, like throughout that month, but definitely worth getting access to and keeping up with each of the projects. Also, if you go to the Leads Roundup channel every week, the projects will give an update on those things. If you want to keep up with some more fine-grained details of what projects are doing, go there. Those get published to roadmap.logos.co and roadmap.vac.dev. You can go check out some more fine-grained details on what all the projects are doing, what all the service units within VAC are doing, and the status of their efforts. But yeah, I'm not going to go through all of these. There's just too much to go through. There's some really great stuff here. Really good conversations on the forum, different proposals. Definitely want to check out the proposals and weigh in on what you think these things are too. The distributed systems testing gave out a new report on the testing they've done across the board. Really great content coming out. I want to start including all the logo stuff that we've been doing with this awesome amount of spaces and circles and cells we've been kind of pushing forward. We're doing more community growth across logos. That's on the non-tech side of things. A lot of great work there, and I want to start highlighting that as well. Great vibe coding. I think it's an interesting thing to start thinking about when you're considering your documentation and kind of your project and getting people to use it. This new trend, it makes sense to try and structure at least a portion of your documentation such that it's very easy to get people to vibe code with your project so that they can build stuff on top of it. As we lean more and more and more on experimenting with different stuff and coding using AI, it's imperative that those who would like to do something like that can use your project very quickly. So think about that when you're thinking about your documentation, and watching people like Aaron and Vaclav and Guru try and do this in real time gives you a pretty good indicator on like how well our projects are documented such that they can be vibe coded with. I think we should start optimizing for that. So all that to say, great work, everybody. I'm really excited to see things moving forward. I love all these progress, mixnet, incentivization, local backups within status, which I've always wanted. This is great. Love seeing it going. See y'all in 2 weeks, and contact me, Petty at Discord, Core Petty on Twitter. If you want to talk to me, if you want to show me something, show somebody something, I will help you get it out in front of other people's eyes. Bye, guys.